City inspections, taxi stands, license fees and background checks, set rates and penalties. The owners of some of Buffalo's largest cab companies say a long list of regulations for taxis puts them at an unfair disadvantage. 6 months after Uber and Lyft hit city streets, cab companies are renewing calls for the city to treat the taxi industry and new ride-hailing services the same. Either regulate all of us, or don't regulate any of us at all, said Bill Yunke, president of Liberty Yellow Cab. We can't compete with one hand tied behind our back. Yunke and the owner of Airport Taxi last week asked the Buffalo Common Council to either peel back city regulations on taxi and livery companies or hold ride-hailing companies to the same standards. Without it, they say, a number of small taxi companies could go out of business. When at the wheel, Liberty Yellow Cab executive class driver Tyrell Adams can easily communicate with passengers and explain how to use their Curb app to pay for their fare. Robert Kirkham/Buffalo News. The city has determined it's in the best interest of its citizens to regulate transport, said Robert Borinaz, an attorney representing Airport Taxi in Kenmore. But if unregulated transport is okay, they need to deregulate taxi cabs so they can compete unrestricted on an even playing field. City codes require cab companies and independent taxi drivers to purchase mileage tracking taxi meters, pay for a $125 license, and undergo a background check. They're required to have their vehicles inspected by the city, their taxi meters tested and calibrated, and they can't charge more than $3 per mile for standard fares. Taxi drivers are also limited in the ways they can solicit customers, restricted to certain places they can wait for fares, and are required to carry omnibus insurance in amounts set by the state. There are also regulations and conditions about signage, partitions, licensing, records, fees, advertising, identification and rates, among other details. If taxis don't comply, they're penalized. Uber and Lyft have their own requirements, as well as some Department of Motor Vehicles rules, but they're not regulated or enforced by the city. Airport Taxi said it has seen a 50% decrease in its business since Uber and Lyft began operating in western New York. 5 months in, Uber GM says Upstate was worth the wait. Yunke said he invested more than $500,000 in his business over the past 3 years to prepare for Uber's arrival. He implemented automated call-taking software, created a ride-hailing app and a wireless hotel call button, eliminated the company's call center and outsourced those 20 jobs to the Philippines. Those measures have allowed him to prevent profit losses, he said. Other, smaller cab companies have told him they'll be out of business within a year if things stay the same, he said. Common Council member Richard A. Fontana said he is willing to work with cab companies on their concerns, but isn't sure there's much the city can do that would make a difference. He said licensed taxi companies act as an ambassador for the city, so drivers and cars need to be checked for safety and cleanliness before they hit the streets. I don't see how $100 and an inspection is putting anyone out of business.